You're listening to the How to Talk to Girls podcast, where you'll learn step-by-step how to meet and seduce beautiful women. Whether you're looking for one night of fun, a week-long fling, or a long-term relationship. I'm your host, Trip, and the episode starts now.
Hello and welcome to the How to Talk to Girls podcast. I'm your host, Trip Kramer from tripadvice.com. Welcome back to another episode. And big warm welcome to you if it is your first time ever listening to the How to Talk to Girls podcast. We are here to give you dating, sex, and relationship advice and doing it in a way that makes it easy for you. That's what I'm here to do. And on today's episode, we're talking about how to stand out amongst the other men. How do you stand out to women? We're going to get right into that after you hear a voicemail that asks the question. You might have a question as well. So if you do and you want to leave it on a voicemail, go ahead and call 323-432-0025 and we'll put you on the podcast. We'll answer your question. I know our listener who left the voicemail for this week is very excited to get his question answered, and it's a good question at that. So if you ask a good question, you give me a lot of details. You know, some people have very specific questions about maybe girls they're dating. That's fine. You can ask that too. The more details, the better though, so I can really give you the best answer possible. All right, sound good? Fantastic. A little announcement before we get into the episode here. Well, actually a couple announcements. First of all, if you don't already know, coaching is available. That's right. The doors are open. I'm ready to help you. I'm ready to dive in with you. We can actually do this over the phone. There's phone coaching available. I got a group coaching program available as well. And all that can be discussed. If you're interested, you got to fill out an application. All you got to do is go to tripadvice.com/coaching. Again, that's tripadvice.com/coaching and fill out the application in as great detail as possible. And if I feel that you are a good fit based on your application, one of those things is you have to be 18 or older. You have to fill out the questions. Some people just leave like 2 words. That doesn't tell me that you're really serious about coaching. So really fill it out, and then you and I will get on a phone call to see if you're a good fit. And then from there, I can tell you about your options. And there's a few options. I think you'll like them. And really diving deep into helping you get your situation handled. So if you're just like, I'm ready to finally get this area handled of my life and find a woman or date multiple women or just enjoy my life and have sex with women that I want to have sex with because you're not ready to settle down, that's fine too. We'll help you get there. I'll guide you along. And I have a lot of clients right now who are seeing some great results. So if you want to fill out an application, be my guest, tripadvice.com/coaching. Sound good? Another announcement also, my book is available. If you haven't gotten your hands on Magnetic, you better do it. It's available in audio. And I know that you like audio because you're listening to the podcast. So there's an audiobook available, paperback that will actually send to your place, and there is a Kindle version as well if you just want to read it on your Kindle. That's right. It's on Amazon. Check it out. I'll put a link in the description in the show notes, and also just go ahead and go to Amazon, type in Trip Kramer Magnetic or Trip Magnetic, and you'll see it there as well if you just want to do that. So there you go. More solutions for you beyond the podcast, and I want to make sure you know about those because guys don't know about those, and a lot of guys are listening for the first or second time. So there you go. Now let's get into today's question. It starts off with a voicemail. Check this out from one of our listeners.
Hey, Trip. It's Vincent calling, and I just had a question that I was wondering if you could answer on the podcast. Basically, my question was, how do you, in the college and university, part of life, when you're in college, university, what's the best way to stand out amongst all the girls that you meet? There are a lot of guys in university and college to be specific, but what's the best way to stand out amongst the crowd? And how do you put your best foot forward? And how do you really portray an alpha male vibe towards these girls that you meet in college? I was just wondering if you could answer the question. If you could answer it on the podcast, that would be amazing. I really love all the content that you put out on the podcast. And if you answer that, that would be awesome. And I really appreciate all the work that you do. Super inspiring. And hopefully, maybe we could meet sometime and have a coffee together and just talk about all this amazing stuff. So thank you really much. Thank you a lot, Trip. And really hope this question gets answered on the podcast. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Well, thank you, Vincent, for asking a question. Yes, it is on the podcast now. So that's awesome. Okay, let's get into this. How do you stand out? How do you stand out? How do you stand out in college? How do you stand out when you're in the real world? How do you stand out amongst women? How do you stand out amongst the competition? How do you portray the alpha male vibe? I like this question. But I'm going to start off with this, my friend. You're asking the wrong question. The question isn't, how do I stand out? And that's okay. You didn't know. But the question isn't, how do I stand out? It's not about standing out at all. The whole idea is, when I meet a woman, how do I trigger attraction? How do I get her to say, oh, wait a minute, that she's talking to a guy that she's never talked to before? I guess in a sense that's standing out. But it's not, how do I stand out? It's, how do I get her to feel the attraction for me? How do I put my best foot forward to get her to see me in a light that's not a friend, but more of a sexual vibe? How do I create that atmosphere? How do I create that interaction? So again, yes, it is about standing out in a sense, because what you're going to be doing is doing something that most guys aren't able to do. But I don't like the mindset behind the question. I don't like you thinking about other guys or competition, or it's nonsense. It's nothing to be worried about, okay? The only competition you should ever be in with anyone is the one with yourself. That's the competition. How do you get better than the current you? You versus you, okay? And of course, in a healthy way, I don't want you to tear yourself down and break down your self-esteem through the process. Really, it's about building up your self-esteem because you're trying to be a better you. So how do you become better at this? Well, that's what this whole podcast is really about, right? That's what my book is about. That's what my programs are about. That's what the coaching is about. That's what this is all about. Really, now you're just asking the question, how do I become a guy that attracts a woman? How do I trigger attraction? How do I get her to see me as a potential mate? And it's a big question, right? It would take me 20 hours to answer that question. But I like to break things down into formulas, something very simple. You've probably heard me talk about on the podcast, or if you have my Hooked program or my book, talk about tension, entertainment, and dominance, my formula for being the guy to stand out, because tension, entertainment, and dominance is that really helps you trigger attraction, okay? No, I'm not going to say you got to go get the book or get my Hooked program to learn about it. I'll give you a little breakdown right now, but I would check out the program or the book if you want to dive even deeper, okay? There's only so much information I can put on the podcast, but here's the basic idea: is the way to stand out is to be the guy who's going to be going up to the girl and starting the conversation. Here's the thing: most guys won't even go up to a girl and start a conversation. Most guys are a complete disaster. They can't even go up there because they're too scared. So right away, here's the good news, right away, you're standing out because you're the guy who's actually making the approach. Because a percentage of guys, a large one at that, are not going to be going up to the girl. So boom, you're going up to a girl, starting conversation, you're already standing out. You're already giving yourself the opportunity to build attraction with the girl. It's pretty cool, okay? Pretty cool. So tension, entertainment, and dominance. I'm going to just go through this really quick so you get a quick summary here, okay? Tension, building sexual tension, flirting with her, giving her good eye contact, being the guy that is going to, like I said, flirt with her in a way that says that you might be interested in her, showing that interest, maybe verbally through compliments, maybe a light touch on the arm, maybe you guys are having a good conversation, all of a sudden a good song comes on, you grab her hand, you do a little twirl, and you bring her into you. And then entertainment, which guys get confused, and I don't know a better word to use in entertainment, but I know it gets confusing. It's about entertaining yourself. You entertain yourself through the process by having fun in the interaction. A lot of guys go, what do I talk about, right? How do I talk to girls? That's what the podcast is called. How do you talk to girls? How do you talk to girls? Talk to them about whatever you want. There's no rules here. What's interesting to you? What's something that you would want to talk about? Anything. When you talk about the things that you want to talk about and enjoy talking about, you will be entertaining yourself, which then will not entertain her, but at least get her more invested and attracted to you in the interaction, because she sees that you're a guy who's not nervous to go to talk to girls and is excitable and is interesting and has a good energy. So that's entertainment. And then there's dominance, which a lot of guys mess up here too, about leading the interaction. So a lot of guys will go up, they'll approach, maybe they'll flirt a little bit, they'll talk, but then they don't do anything, right? They get a number maybe, but then they just text the girl all the time. They never ask her out on a date. Or maybe they, have an opportunity to take her home that night. So they don't bounce her around the bar, or they don't go to an instant date location. Maybe you meet her at a coffee shop and you guys go somewhere else to grab a bite to eat that moment that you meet her, right? So dominance is moving the interaction forward all the way to the bedroom and then beyond. So that's my little kind of summary of how do you stand out? Well, you trigger attraction. How do you trigger attraction? Those 3 ingredients. And I bet you're not doing those right now. That's where a lot of guys struggle. It's like they get it. I've simplified it for you, but you're not doing it. You see, it's not about standing out. It's about the idea that a woman is looking for a man. Okay? This is how attraction works. A woman is looking for a man who has his life together, a man who, like I said, can spark attraction with Ted, a man who's optimizing all the areas of his life. Now, of course, you don't have to be doing any of that and you can attract a woman. I mean, by God, there are people getting together all the time that don't have their life together, don't even know what the hell Ted is, and they're still getting together. How are they doing it? Well, I also think a lot of those people are settling and they're dating down. Maybe it's a guy who's going for a girl that's not so quality. So, of course, it's going to be easier to attract that kind of woman. She's not pursued as much. But if you're the kind of guy who wants to go for a woman that he's really attracted to, really go for a woman that he's really interested in. Like if you want to be that guy, then that's what you're going to need to do, is do the things I just discussed, optimizing all the areas of your life. Something I talk about in the book Magnetic is the idea of optimizing wealth, health, your lifestyle, and your appearance, right? So all these different areas. Not that you need to do that to spark attraction, but it really helps overall scheme of things, right? Building up your life so it's awesome. So you're just a dude who's got his life together, has his own place. You're making enough money to get by. You're not living in your parents' basement. You have a lifestyle that's interesting. Maybe you travel. You have a lot of friends. You go to the gym. You work out. You're focused on being healthy. You're a guy who is optimizing his appearance to the best of his ability, putting a little style on, making sure that you're well-groomed, right? All these things, a lot of the hard work that most guys don't do. That's how you're going to stand out, by putting in that effort. So you're optimizing all these areas of your life, and then you're saying, hey, okay, I'm going to now go and talk to girls, but I want you to be careful. I don't want you to sit here and try to optimize all the areas of your life and study and listen to a billion podcasts before you actually go out there and start talking to women. Like, you got to go out there now. Let's get you going out there as soon as possible so you can at least practice your social skills and getting better at approaching and talking to women, while at the same time getting better at optimizing the areas, and you're getting better at socializing. You're getting more comfortable in front of women. Don't wait to do that. Do that as soon as possible, right? Like I said, most guys aren't doing any of that stuff. They're not putting in the work, and so nothing's happening for them. Or they're meeting a girl in a very easy way through their social circle, but it's a girl that they got a little sign of attraction from, meaning that girl kind of showed interest. So they're like, oh, okay, this girl likes me, and then they settle. If you don't want that, then put in the work. Be the guy who's going to stand out, who understands all of these principles. And all this stuff combined is what an alpha male does, or a masculine guy does, right? He's the guy who's in charge of his life, who's taking control, who's trying to be better every day, who is in competition with himself and himself only to try to be better all the time, and making all of that work in order to then say, hey, my life is awesome. I'm an awesome guy. Let me get another girl to be part of this. Or if you're not looking for that and you just want fun, then great. Then you'll attract girls and you can sleep with them and have a good time. And then who knows what's going to be next for you. So really, I think the theme of this episode is be in competition with yourself. I really think that is one of the best ways to stand out amongst women, is to be the best you could be. Very generic advice. And that advice comes quite a bit, right? You might hear that. Be your best self, be your best self. But I'm giving you specific things in order to do that. It's like, how do you be your best self? Well, you be in competition with yourself. You look at where you're at now and say, how can I be better tomorrow? And you know all the things to work on, because I just told you what makes you more attractive to women. And you know specifically the exercises you need to do. Go out and start talking to women. Make mistakes, get rejected, learn what it's like, feel what it's like. That's going to be the key. That's going to be the missing ingredient for you. So that's what I want you to do. Hope that answers your question. All right. And of course, again, if you want to dive deeper into this, more details, check out the Magnetic book. And if you want to dive even deeper, there's coaching for you. TripAdvice.com/coaching. We can go over all of this stuff and figure out where it lacks in your life and where you need to work and what areas you need to work on. Okay. So that's what we go over when we do the coaching. All right. So either way, I hope this helped. You have something to think about, some new mindsets, and some things you can start working on, which I always like for you because I want you to get results. I don't like you just to listen to all the podcasts and do nothing with them. This shouldn't be entertainment for you. This should be instructional. All right. So even though I know it's somewhat entertaining, but still go out and use it so then you can get results. Sound good? I'll talk to you in the next episode.